Hi, I'm Caleb, 30, and the day my sister told the paramedics I was faking a heart attack while I was actually dying on the pavement was the day I stopped pretending I still had a sister. She didn't just doubt me, she tried to stop them from saving me. Let me tell you exactly how we got here. Eleanor's favorite word growing up was mine. If there was a spotlight, she stepped into it. If there was silence, she filled it. And if anyone dared steal attention from her, especially me, she'd claw it back no matter the cost. We were only a year and a half apart, but you'd think we were born into different families. She was the glittering golden child. I was the furniture, quiet, useful, easy to overlook. And for a long time, I didn't mind. Eleanor could throw tantrums like Broadway performances. She once fake fainted at a school assembly because I got a principal's award. She screamed when I got into Stanford, sobbed when I got engaged, and accused me of stealing her thunder when I announced my heart condition, but I still let her in. Because that's what I was raised to do. Parents were masters of enabling. She's just expressive, my mom would say while Eleanor hurled insults across the dinner table. Be the bigger person, Dad would whisper as she cut me down in front of relatives. So, kept being the bigger person. Until the night my heart literally stopped beating and Eleanor stood over me telling trained EMTs I was just being dramatic. The scary part? She almost convinced them. The scarier part? That moment was years in the making. It started like this. At 32, I was working long hours at Morrison & Associates, a top law firm in San Francisco. I'd been having strange episodes, tight chest, short breath, dizzy spells, but chalked it up to wedding stress. Turns out, it was congenital. My heart was a ticking time bomb. One bad rhythm and I could be gone in seconds. I told my family over dinner. I showed them the echo scans. I told them what the cardiologist said. My mom looked concerned. My dad nodded solemnly. Eleanor? She laughed. Oh please, she said, sipping wine. You just can't stand that the wedding's not about you. I wish I could say that was the worst of it, but then came the rehearsal dinner, the collapse, the flashing lights, and the moment Eleanor looked a paramedic in the eye and said, "She's fine. She does this all the time." The rest? That's where things truly begin. The rehearsal dinner was perfect right until it was end single quotes T.it was held at this upscale spot near the Embarcadero. All warm lights and polished cutlery. Derek's family had flown in from Portland, mine packed in from all over the bay. The wedding party buzzed with champagne and stories. For once, I let myself relax. I deserved this moment. But halfway through my entry, something shifted in my chest. Not the usual flutter, not the tightness I'd grown used to. This was different. It felt like my whole chest seized up and my left arm went numb. My fork clattered onto the plate, and the noise sounded like it came from the other end of a tunnel. The restaurant seemed to dim, then explode in light. My ears filled with the high, electric ringing. I turned to Derek. Something's wrong, I whispered. He didn't hesitate. He waved down a server, told his mom we were leaving, and helped me to my feet. Eleanor, of course, caught wind of the commotion from halfway down the table. Oh my God, she groaned, loud enough for everyone to hear. Can she go one night without making it about her? I didn't even look back. I couldn't. I was trying to stay upright. We didn't make it to the car. I collapsed in the parking garage, cold concrete against my cheek, my vision tunneling to black. I could hear people shouting, Derek yelling my name, tires screeching, someone saying, "Call 911. But loudest of all was Eleanor's voice. She's fine. She does this. She just wants attention. She fakes panic attacks all the time, and then, you're wasting your time. She's just acting." That's what the paramedics heard when they arrived. That's what they were told as they bent down to check my vitals. One of them, Gabrielle, found my pulse was barely there. Her partner began prepping a defibrillator, but Eleanor wouldn't shut up. She tried to block them, argued, raised her voice. This is ridiculous. She's not dying, she's manipulating you. Gabrielle had to threaten to have her removed. Derek nearly decked her. And me? I tried to speak. I really did. But my mouth wouldn't work. I remember Gabrielle yelling, "We've lost her pulse." I remember the shock of the defibrillator, and then I remember nothing. I came back to life 2 days later. ICU. Beeping monitors. Blurred ceiling tiles. Derek slumped in a chair beside me, still wearing the same dress shirt from the rehearsal dinner, now wrinkled and stained with fear. His hand was wrapped around mine like it was the only thing keeping me tethered to this world. When he saw my eyes open, he broke. Quiet, trembling sobs of pure relief. "You died," he whispered. "In the parking garage." "Your heart stopped." He said the words like he was still trying to believe them. "They had to shock you 3 times. Then again in the ambulance. You flatlined, Clarissa. Twice." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just lay there, numb. Not just from what happened but from what almost happened. And then I remembered. Her Eleanor. The flash of her voice cut through the fog. "She's just faking. She does this all the time." Derek saw the change in my face. He nodded slowly. "Yeah," he said darkly. "She told the paramedics not to help you, even when they said you had no pulse. She was yelling at them, screaming. It got worse. She'd physically tried to stop them, tried to pull Gabrielle's partner away mid-spar. 2 bystanders had to hold her back. The police had been ready to press charges on the spot. But Derek, God love him, asked them to wait until I woke up. You should be the one to decide," he said. Dr. Fletcher came later that day. The look in his eyes was pure, grim relief. "You're lucky," he told me. "Cardiac arrest survival rates are low outside a hospital. If those EMTs had hesitated even 30 seconds longer," he didn't finish the sentence, but I saw it in his eyes, "I'd be brain dead. Or gone." And that's when Gabrielle, the paramedic, showed up. She came in on her day off. She wanted to look me in the eye and say, "I believed you." Even when she didn't, I trusted my training over her shouting. Then she told me something that chilled me to my core. "Your sister tried to convince us to stop CPR even after you flatlined. She was calm, insistent. She said you'd pulled stunts like this since childhood. That this was just performance." I couldn't speak. I just nodded, over and over, like if I stopped, the tears would come. Gabrielle's voice softened. "I've been doing this 14 years. I've seen denial, panic, confusion, but I've never seen someone try to stop us from saving a life like that." And then she said it. "I'm recommending we press charges. What your sister did could have killed you." The moment I gave the okay to press charges, it was like a switch flipped inside me. I wasn't just a survivor anymore, I was a witness. And I was angry. The paramedics had body cam footage. Everything Eleanor did, everything she said was recorded. Her trying to pull them off me. Her screaming that I was just faking it. Her mocking the flatline monitor like it was part of some melodramatic script I'd written to upstage her. When the footage was played in court later, the jury gasped out loud. But before we got there, the family did what families do. They begged. My parents showed up in the ICU with flowers and guilt. My mom was crying before she even made it through the door. She was just scared, she said. She didn't understand what was happening. She knew. I snapped. My voice was raw. She heard the EMT say I had no pulse. She saw them bring out the defibrillator. She watched me die and still told them to stop. Dad sat down, stone-faced. His silence was louder than Mom's sobs. "She loves you," she tried again. "No," I said. "She loved being the center of attention, and she lost it for 5 minutes and tried to kill me to get it back." They left quietly. But not before Dad muttered, "You're overreacting." Yeah, still the favorite, even after literal attempted medical homicide. Eleanor was arrested 2 days later, interfering with emergency medical services. Reckless endangerment. And after the DA saw the body cam footage, attempted manslaughter was on the table. Her lawyer tried the classic spin. She was in shock. She panicked. She didn't understand, except the footage showed the opposite. Calm, cold, controlled. She argued with Gabrielle like it was a debate club. "She's just really good at faking," Eleanor said. As they tried to restart my heart. "You'll see." The courtroom went dead silent when that line played. Even the judge looked like he was about to be sick. Gabrielle testified. So did Derek. So did I. Shaky voice, bandaged chest, a new ICD implanted near my heart to keep it from betraying me again. The jury didn't take long. Guilty. 2 years in prison. 3 years probation. Court-mandated therapy. But the real punishment? The world saw. The headline went viral. "Sister declares woman faking while she flatlines." The footage spread like wildfire. Eleanor became a walking cautionary tale. People recognized her on the street. Coworkers ghosted her. Friends blocked her. Our extended family stopped inviting her to anything. Even Mom stopped making excuses, and Dad, well, he finally flinched. "We failed you," he told me, months later. "We kept telling you to forgive. But she almost got you killed." No arguments from me. After the trial, the silence from Eleanor was loud. Then came the first letter. Handwritten, 8 pages, prison stamped, rambling apologies peppered with excuses, trauma, pressure, a moment of madness. She said she didn't remember doing it. Said she watched the footage and couldn't believe it was her. Said she changed. I didn't write back. 2 months later came a second letter. This one angrier, being punished more than I deserve. "You're dragging this out. You're the reason I lost everything." That one I didn't even finish reading. She served 18 months of her sentence and was released on parole for good behavior. Within a week, she showed up at Morrison and Associates. No appointment. Just walked into the lobby and told the front desk she was there to see her sister. Security had to escort her out. Next, she started sending gifts. Flowers, apology cards, a plush heart with the Band-Aid stitched on the front, like this was all one big inside joke. Each one went straight back, unopened. Eventually, she started posting online long threads about redemption, spinning her version of events, that I'd been exaggerating for years, that I'd weaponized the justice system, that I was a cold, vengeful sister who couldn't let go. But I remembered the look on Gabrielle's face when she told me, "If we'd believed her, you'd be dead." That's not something you let go of. That's something that brands you. Meanwhile, I healed. Slowly, quietly. The surgery to fix my heart defect went well. Dr. Fletcher said the cardiac arrest gave them the clarity they needed to know exactly what had gone wrong. Funny how dying gave me a better shot at living. Derek and I canceled the big wedding. No Fairmont ballroom. No 200 guests. Instead, we got married at San Francisco City Hall. Just us, 2 witnesses, and the officiant. It was perfect. No spotlight. No speeches. Just love. For the first time, I realized I could be celebrated without surviving a disaster to earn it. But the trauma stayed. The nightmares. The hypervigilance. The way I'd flinch whenever I heard sirens or felt my heart skip a beat. Therapy helped. So did Derek. So did time. But I never once wavered on this. Eleanor would never be part of my life again. She had chosen attention over my life. She hadn't panicked, she'd perform. While my heart stopped beating, she made sure hers stayed center stage. And that was unforgivable. People love the word forgiveness. They throw it at you like confetti. But she's your sister. Family is forever. You'll regret cutting her off someday. But here's what no one tells you. Forgiveness without accountability is just enabling in a prettier dress. My parents still held out hope. They invited us both to Thanksgiving, to Christmas, to my aunt's retirement party. Every time, the same routine. Her name casually dropped into conversation, followed by, "It would mean a lot if you showed up, just for the family." I stopped going. I started hosting my own holidays with Derek's family and the handful of friends who'd stood by me through everything. People who didn't require me to invite my trauma to the table in a party dress. Once, my mom asked if I'd at least consider sending Eleanor a letter, even just to tell her how you feel. I did consider it, but then I remembered lying on the concrete, vision tunneling, unable to breathe, Eleanor's voice ringing in my ears. "She's fine. She's just fake." I remembered the defibrillator, the burn across my chest, the 3 shocks that dragged me back. And I thought, she watched me die and rolled her eyes. You don't send a letter to that. You send silence. Eleanor, meanwhile, continued her slow motion unraveling. Her criminal record made professional work impossible. She bounced between temp jobs, customer service, mall kiosks, a brief stint at a juice bar that ended with her getting fired for screaming at a customer who didn't tip. She posted long rants online about cancel culture, about betrayal, about how some people can't handle strong women who speak their truth. Except the truth had been caught on camera. I walked past her once, on Market Street. She looked small, makeup smudged, hair pinned back too tightly, carrying a reusable grocery bag like it was a designer purse. She saw me, froze. I kept walking. Behind me, I heard her whisper my name, but I didn't turn around. That was the moment I knew I was finally free. She could shout, post, cry, perform. It didn't matter anymore. I'd built a life she couldn't touch, a heart stronger than the one that almost failed me, and peace that didn't include her. 3 years later, I don't think a week goes by without someone asking me, "But don't you miss her? Don't you wish things had gone differently?" And the honest answer is I miss the idea of her. The fantasy sister. The one I thought might one day stop competing long enough to clap for me. The one I imagined calling when I had exciting news, or crying with during heartbreak. The sister I cheered for, defended, forgave, over and over, hoping that eventually she'd choose me back. But that sister never existed. What I had was someone who saw my milestones as threats, who thought compassion was a zero-sum game, who watched me collapse, die, and still chose her ego. And yet, somehow, I was the one everyone expected to fix things. Even after everything went public, the body cam footage, the trial, the sentencing, my parents never really held her accountable. Oh, they said the right words at first. "We're so sorry, we should have seen it sooner," but underneath it all, they were still quietly calculating how to put the family back together. They still invited her to every event, still left her a seat at the table, still told me, "Maybe this year will be different." They wanted closure in the form of a hug. I wanted it in the form of a restraining order. I remember sitting across from my mom, shortly after Eleanor was released on parole. She'd asked me to lunch neutral territory. She brought a tin of cookies and a freshly printed stack of apologies. "Eleanor's working part-time at a bookstore now," she said, stirring her tea. "She's in therapy. She says she finally understands what she did." I didn't touch my tea. "Does she understand?" I asked slowly. "That if those EMTs had listened to her, I'd be dead? That she literally tried to stop my heart from being restarted?" My mom flinched. "She wasn't trying to kill you. She didn't care if I died," I corrected. She was more upset about losing the spotlight than losing me. There was a long silence. Then she said the line that finally broke something in me. She just couldn't help herself. That was it. 30 years of excuses, condensed into 6 words. She just couldn't help herself. And suddenly, I saw it all so clearly. Eleanor was never going to change because she'd never had to. Every bridge she burned, our parents rebuilt behind her. Every stunt, every betrayal, every tantrum was cushioned by, "That's just how she is." And I was expected to be the adult, the peacemaker, the one who absorbed the damage and said, "It's okay. I love you anyway." But it wasn't okay, and I didn't love her anymore. The moment I said that out loud to my mom, to Derek, to my therapist, I felt something shift. Not bitterness, not vengeance, relief. I didn't have to keep pretending. I didn't have to keep setting an extra place at a table I didn't want her sitting at. I didn't have to keep making room in my heart for someone who tried to make it stop beating. And when you put it like that, most people go quiet, because no one knows what to say when the villain of your story shares your last name. Now, I live in a restored Victorian in No Valley. Derek and I planted sunflowers in the backyard and hung photos from our city hall wedding in every hallway. I made junior partner. I sleep 8 hours a night. I take my heart meds like religion. We're thinking about starting a family carefully, with Dr. Fletcher keeping close watch. I host Thanksgiving now, with chosen family, with people who don't demand I invite my trauma back into the living room. Sometimes, I still see Eleanor. Once at the grocery store, another time in line at the DMV. She looks the same, but smaller, like life's been slowly shaving her down. We never speak. She just watches me. That same strange expression every time, a cocktail of longing, bitterness, and something close to regret. But I walk the other way, every time, because you don't owe forgiveness to someone who tried to bury you alive just to steal your spotlight. You owe yourself peace, and mine doesn't have her in it. Sometimes I wonder what Eleanor tells herself at night. Maybe that I overreacted, that I punished her too harshly, that I turned the world against her for one mistake. But I don't wonder often, because every time that doubt creeps in, I remember lying on cold concrete, heart stopped, lungs frozen, hearing her voice float above me, dismissive and sharp. "She's faking. She always fakes." And the paramedic's voice cutting through the chaos. "She has no pulse." And Eleanor still saying, "Then she's gotten really good at faking." It replays sometimes, Like a cruel movie trailer stitched into my nervous system. Not in nightmares. In flashes. When I hear sirens. When I pass someone who smells like her perfume. When my heart skips a beat and I wonder for a fraction of a second if it's happening again. But then I breathe. And I remember I lived. She lost me. I didn't lose myself. I built a life now that's so far removed from her orbit, it sometimes feels like she was a character in someone else's story. Like a villain from a novel I barely remember reading. And yet, I carry the lessons she taught me. Not the ones she meant to teach. The ones I learned by surviving her. That love without respect is manipulation. That family without accountability is just shared DNA. That silence in the face of harm isn't grace, it's self-abandonment. And that sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is say, no more. People still ask me quietly, cautiously, if I'll ever forgive her, and I tell them this: forgiveness is not a reset button. It's not a magic eraser. It's not a gift you owe anyone, especially someone who tried to rewrite your obituary while you were still breathing. Forgiveness is a door, and some people don't get to walk through it. Eleanor chose who she wanted to be. So I chose to survive. And that will always be the ending of our story, not because I hate her, but because I love myself too much to ever go back. Clarissa.